who's a literal toddler, feels comfortable telling Donald Trump to his face that he's not the president, he needs to go away, and that he needs to shut his mouth. This kid is a toddler, and he feels comfortable saying this to Donald Trump. What does that tell you about what Elon Musk is saying to Donald Trump behind closed doors? This kid didn't just come up with these things to say on his own. He heard that somewhere. Food for thought. That's it.
I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote.
Raise your hands, come on.
For Donald Trump.
I keep seeing videos of people saying like how they regret their vote, and if they could go back, they would change their vote, or they wouldn't vote, or blah, 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 right? Y'all don't regret your vote. You regret that those hateful things that you wished upon other people are now affecting you when you didn't know they would. So I don't feel bad for you. You're getting exactly what's coming for you, and I hope you enjoy these next 4 years.
You can literally tell MAGA that we spent $850 million sending accordion play monkeys to a cave in Zimbabwe, and they will totally believe that and go screaming about it on the internet. Not much in there, you know what I mean?
I have a question for the maggots. So y'all got everything you wanted, right? Presidency, majority Senate, majority House, majority Supreme Court. Every single ball that could possibly be in your court is there right now. What exactly more is it that you need in order to stop bitching about any and everything? Because I still see insidiously, y'all are madder than you were before. So much for owning the libs. Are you not happy? And this is, of course, just the exhausting beginning of what we're bound to witness unfolding over the course of the next 4 years, which is you lot having all of the power and subsequently having to reconcile with the inevitable revelation that black people, trans people, Mexican people, whoever else you have a problem with for some reason, are not the root causes of your issues. You are miserable, hateful, bitter, spiteful because that's who you are and always have been. We could get rid of all of the minorities, all of the queer people in this country, and your would still be sitting there mad as hating yourself, hating your life, hating your job, hating your spouse, hating your children, because you're just a mad and nothing will ever make you happy. Hell, if we did that, y'all would likely just start discriminating against the white people who have browner hair and browner eyes than you. Y'all are chasing your fucking tails and forcing all of us to watch.
My mom just got deported. My mom just got deported. It's so not fair. It's so not fair. She's literally not a criminal. Like, she literally just paid her taxes. She's literally just... We're not safe. No one's safe. Please. Hug your loved ones, please.
My heart goes out tremendously to this young man. His mother got deported. His mother regularly paid her taxes, not a criminal, was a functional member of American society. But the cruelty is the point. Not just with the despotism with which ICE operates, but also the cruelty that all MAGA cultists espouse. Because this man, this poor fucking dude, he is one of countless thousands right now who are absolutely suffering. I hope you're fucking happy, you MAGA cultists, for stripping families apart like this. Families that did not need to be stripped apart. You voted for this, MAGA cult. You fucking voted for this.
MAGA thought they were making the right choice. They believed him when he said he would fight for them, for the forgotten Americans, for freedom, for the country they love. They stood by him, defended him. They cast their vote with pride. But now all they feel is regret. The economy is worse, prices are higher, and the rich get richer while the rest of them struggle, and the bad times haven't even started yet. He promised law and order, yet the country feels more chaotic than ever. families torn apart by vicious, hateful politics, friendships lost, and a nation more divided than they ever imagined. They wanted strength, but all they see is selfishness. They wanted leadership, but all they do is blame the others. They wanted America to be great, but I feel like they have helped tear it down. MAGA thought they were standing up for something good. Now, I bet they feel like they were being used.
Latino is very upset. That's because he voted for Trump, thinking, as he says, that the Trump administration was going to be better for our economy. The problem is, he's a business owner. He owns a detail shop. 100% of his clientele are Latinos. Latinos are the ones affected by this administration, whom he voted for. Classic FAFO. Because he voted Trump thinking that Trump was going to save somehow with a magic wand the economy. But his clientele is primarily Latino. How are you going to vote for Trump knowing that Trump is going to come after your whole clientele? So now he comes to TikTok with sobbing eyes saying that with a heavy heart, he's going to shut down his business because no Latinos are bringing their vehicles to get them detailed because they can't get out of their house afraid that ICE is going to come get them. My question is, did you think this through, sir? Did you think this through? You're a business owner. 100% of your clientele is Latino, and you're going to vote for the one guy that's going to destroy your own business. So I'm going to hold a moment of silence because his business is shutting down. He says that in 60 days, he's not had one client bring their vehicle to get a detail. No, they're not. They're not, because they're too afraid of leaving their home. Yeah, they're afraid. They're looking over their shoulder because of people like you. Yeah, see? So you want Latinos to be hurt by this administration, but you still want them to come and serve you and help you grow. I get it. I get it. Yeah, I'm going to hold a moment of silence for you closing your business, sir. Anyway.
When Roe was overturned, I told people that the next step would be to pull women out of the workforce and out of higher education. I was told that I was fear-mongering, it would never happen. How do I know that this is happening? Because I was raised as a Christian fundamentalist under Republican politicians, and I was told about this plan for as long as I can remember words. Let me explain to you how it's happening in real time. It starts with abortion bans. The best way to keep women impoverished and dependent is by not allowing them to dictate the timing and the size of their families, by removing their choice. We know that they said, well, it's states' rights. Now there's a federal ban on the table, which we always knew there would be. It was part of the RNC's official platform on their website until July of last year. RFK mentions in his hearing, mifepristone is going to come under attack because of safety reasons, even though it is safer than penicillin and Viagra. 4 states now are proposing capital crimes punishment for women who get abortions, including the penalty. Nothing says pro-life like punishing someone who has an abortion more than you ever actually punish. Good job, you guys. So then you put people like Scott Yenner into positions of power in education, who has said on the record that he does not believe that women should be in law, medicine, or engineering, and they should not be candidates for the Nobel Peace Prize. He also would fail all the women who took his class in Boise State. Boise State declined to investigate that. The neonatalist who saved his child's life was a black woman, unironically. Then what do? You remove DEI protections, preventing women from having equal access to higher education and the workforce, and they can now get fired for any reason. They can get fired because their boss doesn't think that women should work in the workforce. If discrimination isn't happening, then having a law saying you can't discriminate is not a problem. Then you introduce school vouchers and you sell it as school choice, when what you're really doing is defunding public education, making it inaccessible to the poor and to the middle classes. And for those children who do get into charter schools, they're religious schools, because children indoctrinated with religion young tend to have larger families than people who are not religious. And you sell this as school choice. Then you get the Department of Education to post things like homeschooling, the lifeline we didn't know we needed. Who's going to be quitting their job to homeschool the kids? Mom is going to be doing that. And you sell it as choice while taking choice away from women. And now there's no protections for women. The other thing is ignorance. You scrub websites like the Office of Women's Medical Research so they don't have access to managing their reproductive care, managing the size of their families. You remove diagnostic information for providers about birth control and about STI prevention so that women can get less and less educated and less access to control the size and the timing of their families. And then you sell it as choice and say, well, there's no laws preventing women from being in the workforce or higher education, while you have assembled barriers to them being part of those very things. Ladies, this is an affront to us having equal access to the world that we live in when we are half the population. Remember that women did not get included in medical research until 1990. We have been neglected this whole time, and this is an affront to us being full citizens in this country.
I'm going to need this video to get over to MAGA because I can't do this for the next 4 years, especially when it pertains to Elon Musk. If I have to hear one more time, why are people on the left so upset that Elon's out here exposing fraud and corruption and wasteful spending? One more time, I'm going to lose my shit. Now I know you guys don't like me, and that's fine, but I'm at least hoping you're going to listen to what I have to say. Now I know things can seem like a conspiracy theory when you don't know how they work, and Elon Musk is banking on that. He hasn't cracked some secret code. He doesn't have access to some secret government database. You have always had access. It is public information for the American taxpayers to know how their money is being spent. He hasn't exposed anything. People like me are upset because you have taken the power away from the people and allowed the richest man in the world to dictate what programs are and are not important to the American people. We vote for our Congress people. We vote for them to represent us in the government. Congress comes together to vote on a bill and control spending. That is what Congress does. And if you don't like the way they're spending their money, you get to tell them that. Or in 2 or 6 years, you get to vote them out. That is democracy. But now you have given unlimited access, unlimited power to the richest man in the world, one person, to determine that. That is an oligarchy. That is why we are upset. You have taken away the power from the people. You have taken away the power from the people you voted in to represent you and put it in the hands of one man. You guys want to say that actors and musicians shouldn't have an opinion on politics because they're out of touch with the American people, with the average American person? They don't have a right to their opinions. But the richest man in the world has the right to dictate where our money gets spent or what is considered wasteful spending. This is why we're upset. He hasn't exposed any fraud. He hasn't exposed any corruption. Fraud would be Congress coming together, right, and voting to spend $100 million on Project A. Then $100 million gets sent for Project A, but it was spent on Project B, C, and D. That is fraud. He hasn't exposed anything like that. He's telling you information you have always had access to. And of course, they're going to throw out numbers that they know are going to piss you off, like $59 million sent to legal migrants in New York City. That's wasteful spending. Putting a roof over people's heads that were sent to a city for a publicity stunt, human beings. But this is good? The State Department plans $400 million purchase of armored Tesla Cybertrucks. Elon has made over $13 billion in government contracts in the past 5 years. The richest man in the world who is saying we have wasteful spending in this country could easily have donated to the government he's claiming to save? Like, what do you think he's going to do with all this money? You think you're going to get a check? You think you're going to get back pay? 5 of the richest men in the world that collectively hold 30% of the global wealth were sitting behind Donald Trump at his inauguration. And you think they're in it for the American people. Holy. And because you're so desperate to think and try to convince yourselves that you made the right choice. Your $600 million was spent on sushi. $230 million was spent on K-Cups. All this bullshit that you're believing. Oh, Elon's going to put $40 million out for Super Bowl commercials to expose everything. And they know that you'll believe it. Because if you were too lazy to look up all this information on your own that you had access to, if you were too lazy to be on top of your representatives, if you were too lazy to do your research on your representatives' voting records, then you are too lazy to do anything to stop Elon Musk. That's why we're upset.
If you voted for Trump and you're wondering why your children don't talk to you, then perhaps I have a little bit of insight for you. My dad voted for Trump all 3 times. The same man who kissed my head and my sister's head as we were coming out of my mom's body because he wanted to be the first person to touch us. My sister has a lot of health issues that total up to about 80 grand a year. If they cut into the Affordable Care Act, it could literally kill her. And as women, we all know how that's been going for us. You cannot expect your children to love you unconditionally if you keep voting against their interests. That's not showing love. You don't care about us.
Good boy. Good boy.
I don't care if you are red or blue, you need to listen up. If you are a woman that has changed your name from your birth certificate, let's say through marriage, and you took your husband's name, you are no longer eligible to vote if this bill passes the Senate. It's already passed the House. So wake up. I am awake. 69 million women have changed their last name from their birth certificate and would be ineligible to vote. This bill also requires that you have to register to vote in person. Doesn't matter if you're elderly, disabled, doesn't matter, in person. And a driver's license will no longer do. You have to have a passport or your birth certificate. But if you've changed your name at all from your original birth certificate, you're okay? So we need this bill not to pass. It goes both ways. Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. Ironically, the bill is sponsored by the Republican Party. My Senator Mike Lee from Utah is a big proponent of this bill, but I'm just going to read you. It goes both ways on both parties, okay, are not exempt from this. Because if you're talking about which states possess more passports, it's blue states. It's the Democratic states. Red states are going to suffer from this in a very big way. Now, just to put it into perspective, there are approximately 146 million American citizens that do not possess a passport. 153 million Americans voted in the last election. So that leaves 7 million Americans left to vote if we're going by those stats. But then only 1 in 4 or 1 in 5, if you're in a red state, possess an actual passport. Now, if you've ever applied for a passport, it takes at least 6 months. You should plan 6 months ahead and several $100s later, but that's only if it will be the same as your birth certificate. We are absolutely going backwards. We need to stop this bill from being passed. Now, you can download this app called 5 Calls. I've downloaded it. It's extremely easy. It shows you all the bills that are coming up, and it gives you your senators, your House of Representatives based on your zip code. All you have to do, you don't even have to leave the app. You call, there's a script, all the numbers, everything is all there for you. This is a way that we can make a difference. The fact that it's already passed the House of Representatives is mind-boggling. This needs to stop.
Well, you'll be a Republican once you're older.
Hey, how about off? Because what you really just told me, based on the modern-day Republican definition, is that someday I'm going to grow up, stop caring about other people, and become a bigoted, selfish loser. And let me assure you, I would sooner die than join your hateful, bigoted little club of Trump sycophants. That's not going to happen. Let's go over some of the shit that the Republican Party has stood on for the last 10 years, shall we? Free lunch for kids at schools. Not gonna happen. Firearm law reform so those same kids stop getting shot at school. Not gonna happen. Police reform so that minorities stop being tragically and repeatedly by police. Not gonna happen. Tax breaks for the ultra wealthy paid for off the back of the middle class. There's a great idea for Republicans. Allow a foreign-born billionaire to go through the sensitive data of millions of Americans. According to Republicans, that's a great idea. Take away the right to bodily autonomy for millions of American women. That's what the Republican Party wants to do. So allow me to make myself crystal clear. The next time one of you window lickers tells me that I'm going to be a Republican when I get older and wise up, I'm going to tell you to get